can hear us if I talk, like sit right here and I talk? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay too? Okay, good.
What?
What'd you say? Cool. We have a couple more minutes, so we're just gonna see if there's any other tricklers. But there's so many of you guys here.
Yeah. And
I don't know. This is my first panel. I've never done a panel before. That's so cool.
and we have a dog, which I said counts as 10 people.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
And it's so fresh. What's your dog's name?
Sydney.
Sydney. I love that. Yeah, this is so cool. So you all are Life is Strange fans. Obviously.
One would hope.
Am I in the wrong hand?
That's awesome. That is
If
rad.
you're not a Life is Strange fan, you will be by the end of the panel.
Yes, you will. You will. You will. Oh, I feel like I have so many questions for you all. It's so.
What if we just did a reverse panel?
Yeah, I just asked you guys questions. Yeah, feel free to take pictures and videos and all that stuff. And if you post it on socials, just tag us in it. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Are you asking, or is that for you? You want me to ask? There's a lot of Rachel Ambers out there. I think I only see one Chloe. No Steph, so I'm really disappointed.
It's okay, you're like practically in cosplay.
Yeah,
You got the
kinda.
beanie, you got the
Kinda,
jacket,
yeah.
You're good.
You
Yeah.
look like you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. Like, a lot of people were like, hey, Katie, you started wearing beanies after Steph, wore beanies. And I was like, no, actually, I wore beanies before I even knew of Steph.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, before it was cool. So, yeah, this is just my get up. Yeah. Cool. Well,
I bought a beanie yesterday and I almost wore it.
you should have.
It's-
No, but your
I-
curls would have
it's
been.
okay. I have one on me that I can wear, but like, I just think like my curls are so good. Yeah, they're really springy.
Can we tell people what
Yeah. Okay, so Katie has this idea, and I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dye each individual ringlet a different color of the Pride flag for Pride this year. Right? Yes? Okay. And like maybe all year round, I'll just like do different Pride flags.
Yeah.
Like I could just pick a different one every month.
I love that.
People can guess how I identify. It's fine.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So basically, this is just going to be a live podcast, pretty much. We're just going to like ask each other questions,
Hang out.
yeah, and then we're going to open the floor. If you guys have any questions for myself or Rosie, and yeah.
And then we'll have a signing after in the signing area. If you can follow us down there if you want to get your book signed. If you haven't purchased one yet, they are available for purchase through Streamly. So.
Yeah, thank you, Streamly.
And there should be directions for how to do that down at the signing area. Yes? Okay.
Yes. We have
I
all
have
the
a thumbs
answers.
up.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yay!
Claps for Andrew. Claps for
Yes,
Andrew. Cool. So I have so many questions for you, and I know you have a lot for me.
Should we start by like introducing ourselves just in case anyone
Oh
here
yeah,
doesn't know
nobody
us?
knows who we are.
I mean, everybody knows who you are, I hope.
Maybe, I don't know. But
Don't raise your hands, don't tell us. That
please
would
don't.
make us
Yeah,
feel
no.
things.
Yeah. So before I ask you every single question I have for
Who
you,
are you?
Who are you?
I'm Rosie Thor. I'm the author of Steph's Story. I also wrote a couple of other books, Tarnished Are the Stars, which is a science fantasy, and Fire Becomes Her, which is a 1920s inspired fantasy. And I love video games and gardening and being gay. Yeah.
And I am Katy Bentz. I am the actor for Steph, Gingrich, in the series. I got my start with her in Before the Storm, and now she's been in another game, a DLC, and now she has her own book, and I was able to do the audiobook for this novel, which is so rad.
And it's really good. I got to listen to it. It's really good.
She told me like this morning, and I was like,
ah! Yeah, I usually don't like listening to my own books read aloud because I get really self-conscious about the writing. But it was like, it's Katie, like I have to listen. And it was great. I had a really good time. I didn't feel awkward about it at all.
yeah,
Which is really surprising.
Yeah, I'm so stoked for that. So I'm curious, what was the process of you being asked to write this novel? How were you approached? What happened?
Yeah. So, like, the way that this works, it's so weird and different for every book. But basically what happened is the publisher had worked with Square Enix to decide they were going to do some book content. And a friend of mine had been approached to do the book, and they turned it down because they hadn't played the games. But I'm very good friends with them. Yeah, I know. I was like, come on, you gotta play the games. But it's like not their jam, they're like more into like shooting games and stuff like that. Which I'm really bad at. I have zero, cannot aim. Like if you give me a first person shooter, I'm just like out the door, can't do it. But I love to talk to people. It's really good. That's easy. I can do that. But anyway, they turned it down, and I was really good friends with them and their literary agent. And I got this email from their literary agent saying like, hey, do you know the Life is Strange games? Are you into that? And I was like, hello, yes. Excuse me, what? And they sort of just introduced me to the publisher. It was a long process between like finding out that the books were happening and that I was being considered.
When was that? Like, when did you find out the book was happening?
So I found out in December of the year before. So like,
what?
Yeah, so like over a year ago. I don't know what year is it? It's 2023 right now? So December 2021.
So
yeah.
After Wavelengths came out, they were like, we need to make a book about her.
Yeah. Actually,
And then she didn't know.
I'm not even sure that they knew the book was going to be about her.
Oh, yeah.
Because they approached me and they had like 4 or 5 different ideas, and I was like, listen, I was a drummer in high school. I like D&D. I'm queer, and I think you should let me write a Steph book. And they were like, sold.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just like soft pitched it, and by soft I mean like very aggressively.
Oh, thank you.
I was like
Thank you
very
for
aggressive
pitching
about it. I was like, Steph or bust.
And I didn't find out that this book was happening until it was announced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so many of you all went onto the Twitch, or the Twitter and the Instagrams and were like, make her do the audiobook, make her do the audiobook. And I was like, thank you guys. And like Rosie was trying to pitch it, and we were all just trying to make it happen. And
I was telling Katy this morning that in every single email that I send my editor, I would be like, P.S. Have you talked to Katy yet? Has anybody talked to Katy yet? Could we get Katy on board for the audiobook? Because it's just I'm a fan first, right? And so I was like, if Katy's not involved, what's the point? Like, we have to do this together. I have to con my way into being friends with Katy Bentz.
Yeah.
Are you local?
I live down in Oregon.
And I'm
so
in
like,
Los Angeles.
I'm like local in terms of like the weather, you know? If it's raining here, it's probably raining where I live.
She's walking around like this, and I'm
Yeah.
like bundled up in another jacket.
I'm like
really cold.
sweating.
Right?
Yeah.
So what was the process of writing a book that already had a whole like this whole story had a background, Steph had a background, the themes of the game, were set in stone. So like, how was it having to do that and make sure to bring the same level to the novel?
It's like a weird puzzle.
Yeah.
Because I'm not writing a sequel, I'm writing a prequel, which means that it's set between two games. So it's set between Before the Storm, what we know of Steph, and then it's set before True Colors. And so I have this framework of who Steph is, where she comes from, and where she ends up. But what we don't know is how she gets there. Mm-hmm. And I was basically working backwards. I mapped out what's the timeline, where are we in time for this book? What are the interesting things that happen? And early on in the discussions with Square Enix and Titan Books, we discussed the idea of doing a sort of Steph on tour kind of vibe. And I pitched the idea of a battle of the bands. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, great. I participated in a battle of the bands once when I was 14 and I lost. So I'm very well prepared to write about this. But it was kind of just there's these very solid pieces that are in place of when does the storm happen, and when does she move to Haven Springs, and when does she meet Gabe and Ryan, and there's all of this lore within the books that I had to work around and figure out where the story took place and what events were happening, both for her personally but also in the world. And so the first thing I did was sit down and figure out the timeline. And I have to shout out, I don't remember their name, it's Scott something? Pitts, Scott Pitts. I don't know who you are, I don't know where you are, if you're watching this somewhere on the live, or on the stream, but Scott has written a timeline Google Doc, and it's 40 pages long, and shared it on Reddit. And this was the best thing that could have happened to me, because I have ADHD, and I was gonna get about halfway through that project and then not finish it. So somebody already did it for me, which saved me probably 20 hours of work, I think. And I just used that as a framework of okay, so here are the events that have happened, and I get to fill in the blanks. So it was kind of the world's largest Mad Lib. Yeah. And I filled it in with, D&D and punk music, and
it's amazing.
Being queer.
It's honestly amazing. Doing the audiobook, I was just kind of cold reading it, and getting so invested in the story and the characters and everything. Like, you did an amazing job. You all, if you haven't started reading it yet, you're gonna love it. Absolutely love it. So
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the book follows Steph between like the 2 years after college up until she moves to Haven Springs. So we're dealing with, Steph kind of like figuring out what her life is and figuring out who she wants to be and who she wants to be with. And so we get to see her explore, love and rock music and on friendship also, like kind of what are the pillars of friendship and what matters to her.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see her on tour, we get to see her falling in love and playing D&D, and it's a good time, I hope.
Oh, it is a good
Yeah.
time. It's a really good time. Yeah.
Anyone who's hungry for more Izzy content?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like get your tissues nearby too, because I mean it's like
We all know where things end up.
we know. We already know what's gonna happen.
From True Colors.
And but I think what's really cool is that I was telling Rosie, this feels like it's a journal entry that you would play, like when you play a game and you're listening to Max's, or I guess Alex's journal, you're reading it, Max's journal, whatever. It's basically that, or it's a memory that Alex has, it's the same kind of thing. It's just 9 hours when you're listening to the audiobook. It's just really, really good, and it taps into a lot of things. So, yeah. Get your tissues ready.
Yeah, it was tough to balance the knowing where she ends up, especially with this relationship with Izzy that's so important to her, and knowing that that's going to be hard because obviously we know where things go in True Colors. Hopefully I'm not spoiling it for anyone, but there's definitely some options with Steph.
She ends up with Alex.
Yeah, canonically, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's okay. If you chose Ryan, it's totally valid. He's great.
Sorry.
No, I love it. It's valid. It's so valid. Ryan is valid.
Ryan kind of looks like my dad, which is a little weird.
Okay.
And also acts a little bit like my dad. They're both kind of punny, outdoorsy guys.
Love it.
And I was he was making bird jokes, and I was just okay, well, that's not an option for me. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He put in a good fight. I feel a little bad for him. I hope it sucks, Yeah, I know he's such a good guy. It's tough, but yeah, it's we all know kind of where it ends up, and we know that Steph gets a happily ever after. We hope. Maybe there will be another game. Who knows? Maybe there's more excitement to come. But yeah, we know kind of where that lands and where she lands with Izzy, and so it's hard knowing going into this book I have to write that, and I have to write this heartbreak and a relationship that I'm rooting for and knowing isn't right for either of them, and trying to balance how to write about that sort of feeling and that sort of relationship without devaluing either of them as people or making one of them the bad guy. So yeah, it's fun though. I really enjoyed it. I like writing about relationships. It's very fun.
I love that. Yeah. Well, it was really, really special to be able to jump back in and
Yeah, I'm curious how that was for you. You're returning to this character that you've done so much work for.
Yeah.
And obviously you've returned to her before because she's got several games now.
Yeah.
But what was it like to return to her after?
It
all
felt
this
like
time?
home. She feels like home
Yeah.
to me, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's just something that she is near and dear to me, and she will always be. And because I think the last time I performed her was in February of 2021. That was the last time I performed her, and so coming back for the audiobook.
And you did that recently.
Yeah,
That was really
that was
recently.
that was 2021. That was however long ago, 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I
the
mean, that's not.
audiobook, was just
Oh yeah, no, the audiobook, I literally just finished the pickups 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I started filming or recording for the audiobook, I want to say middle of January. It was a really pretty quick turnaround. But yeah, no, it was just really amazing. I feel very, very connected to Steph. I can, turn into her pretty easily and dial down into her. And just all of her stuff, I don't know, it's just easy to be Steph. And I was with her during her entire development. When we met her in Before the Storm, she was just this cool D&D, lesbian, drama nerd. And she didn't really have too much stuff, it was just that. And then they brought her back into True Colors, and we were able to explore more of her and, find out, she's got emotions and she's sad and she has all this loss that she's dealt with, which goes very deep in the story. So if you want to learn more about that, so I was able to develop with her while the writers were developing her, and I think that just kind of made me connect with her even more. It's just been such a great journey, and I love this character, and I would love to keep performing her in any medium. So,
How much of this character's real life mirrors your own?
None.
Do you play a musical instrument?
None. None of it.
A lot of it mirrors mine, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even before I got my hands on Steph, I was like, this character is like very close to who I am, and like there's so much that we have in common, just in terms of like our interests and like things that happened in our lives. I mean, I haven't been through like a horrific storm or anything, but one time I was on a boat and we like lost a chair in a windstorm, so like it's close, right? It's so interesting how much we have in common, and like it's cool. It's because she's very real,
Yeah, no, she's
I feel
very
like a lot
real.
of us feel in touch with her.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, is anybody can connect with this character, and that's why I think so many people have, and why she's gone so far into this series, why we're with her 6 years later, from her original like introduction into the series. She's not just one thing, she's so many things, and that's why like people from all over and walks can relate to her. I don't know, like she's just so close to me, and I've met so many wonderful people. I mean, literally people from Instagram and people from Twitch and Twitter, and like you're like, that's me, yeah, it is you. Like I recognize you all, and it's so cool to see, like you guys here and in person, and y'all mean so much to me, and you've taught me so many things, and she's taught me so many things, and I'm just really grateful for that, and I don't know, I'm just so grateful.
Well, I really want to know, because with Steph and the video games, like I don't know how many people know this, but like the process for doing that is pretty in depth. You do a lot of like motion capture, and you do the voice. And, like, you're there for like so much of it. And in this situation, you really like came in right near the end. It was like the book was already done, and there wasn't really much I could do if you didn't like it, we couldn't fix it.
Yeah, no.
But I'm so curious what the process is like for voicing an audiobook versus voicing a video game, because it's very different.
Totally different. So for Before the Storm, I did just voiceover. So I was just in a voiceover booth. I came in kind of in the late process. I didn't really know anything. I didn't even know that the game was Life is Strange. I had no idea. And then True Colors, I obviously knew a little bit more because I was closer with the studio, and I was actually going into the studio now. I flew to Denver like 13 times or something to record, and that was performance capture. That was suited up, full performance space, everything, and that was an amazing experience as an actor, like to be able to use your whole body and everything to bring the performance to life was great. And then with this, I come in, it's so different, even different than any like voiceover stuff I do, because usually you go in and they just have different lines, and you do an A and a B, and they just go down this line, but you have different, you can different takes and stuff. And with this, you just read it. You just read it until you mess up one word, and they're like, just redo that again, and then you just keep reading. Like, I went through a page and a half, and I was like, is this okay? Like, is this gonna sound good? Like, do we need to redo any of this?
I mean, it's none. A whole book. So,
it's a whole book. So they have to get through that stuff like really quickly, and so it was just going through and just trusting that it sounded right and good.
Your vocal cords hurt after a day?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that's gotta be a lot.
I knew the moment they said, okay, we want you to come on for Steph, I was like, fuck. Because as you know, she's lower than my regular voice. I have to like get her down a little bit lower and like talk a little bit like this is Steph. This is her voice right here. And it's like super gravelly and kind of down lower, and
And like that's, this bad boy is like 80,000 words.
Oh my god,
so.
it was, it took us some time.
Yeah.
And I remember they asked me to come in for 6 hours, and I was like, no. I was like, I can only do 4 hours from like, we have to split it up. So, because I knew that my voice, I had no idea when I spoke the first lines of Steph that I was gonna be with her for so long, because I didn't know. I had no idea.
Given her a slightly higher register.
I know, I might have, but no, her register's good.
It's
like
good.
it's
It's
good
for her.
It's good for her.
So,
yes.
So I want to know. This is not related to the book at all, but like, since you did all the mocap, did you do the high kick?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, they actually put out a BTS behind the scenes.
Oh my god, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on Twitter of me doing the kick.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah, that is my
round
kick.
of applause for the high kick.
That is my kick.
High kick. Yeah.
Yeah, my talented high kick. I'm glad it went somewhere.
I feel like maybe I should have made Steph a little bit of a dancer.
Yeah,
I missed opportunity. Maybe there's another little prequel in there.
I hope
the college
so.
years.
The college years.
I should pitch that.
I know. It's like, where else can we go with her? You know, where else?
We could call it Steph University.
Yes, the college years.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's I feel like the most explored character right now.
Steph 101 would also be good. I'm already getting titles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Call me Square. Let's go.
Do it. They're watching this. I know they're watching.
Yes.
Somebody from Square is watching this right now. I know they are.
I'll do it. I'll write it. Pick me.
It's just crazy to think that she is like the most evolved Life is Strange character, and she's not even she has no powers. She's not even from the main just of Life is Strange.
She has powers. She has sass and she has puns.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She's got a lot in there too.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. But yeah, no, it's just been a joy to be able to come back and perform stuff again.
I wonder, because you're so intimately involved with Steph throughout all of this. You've been with her so long, and I feel like you probably know her better than almost anyone. And I'm curious, what you think about, we talked a little bit about maybe there's gonna be a fourth game. I don't know. That could be cool. What if she's in that? What would you like to see Steph do? What's something cool that she hasn't done yet that you think would be neat?
I don't know, because we've seen her we've seen her when she's young, you know, and yeah, we've seen her for 10 years of her life, pretty much, right? Yeah. And I think we're not even past the actual time. I don't even know where True Colors ended in when did True Colors end?
True Colors ended 2019.
2019? Okay.
Yeah,
And
Wavelengths was
I don't even know how they
2018.
would do it, because there is no canon, because you can choose red or stuff, so I don't even know how they would do it. But I don't know, maybe this book is a gateway into something different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I don't know.
I think they should do a rock band DLC where you get to play as Steph playing the drums.
Just that's it.
Yeah, it's just a miniature let's release their song or something. You
Yeah.
know?
I do really think that just a solo game of D&D like they did in
Mhm.
Before the Storm would be really cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I would
to
play that.
elaborate specifically on those characters, just
Yeah.
bring Chloe and Steph and Mikey back. Maybe
Yes.
throw Rachel in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Maybe throw in one of the original characters from the book. Maybe
Yeah.
Jordy gets to be there.
Yeah, you guys are gonna love these characters so much from this book. There's so many new characters in here, and they just feel so Life is Strange. And it would be so cool. Exactly. To be video gameized.
Yeah, for folks who are familiar with the comics, we've got a little cameo from the High Seas. They play a part. Pixie is around for quite a bit. So those of you who are fans of the comics, they do make an appearance.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who have read the comics here? Nice.
Yeah.
Who has played Liz 1? Who has played Liz 2? Who has played Captain Spirit? Who has played True Colors? Who has played Wavelengths? Nice. I'm just looking at you. He's played everything. I love it. Cool. I love it. Hey, it's okay. There's so many. There's literally so many games. It's crazy. It's just a wild franchise. So, and what's great about the franchise in general is that you can pick and choose which games relate to you, and they've made it so there's so many different characters, and I don't know. It's a really cool franchise. I'm just happy to be a part of it, and now you're a part of it. You're a part of the franchise.
Cool. I know. It's that's huge.
Because you were a fan of the game even before you were offered.
Absolutely, yeah. So I had played the first game before I got any sort of. I didn't know anything that the book was happening or anything. I hadn't played Before the Storm, but I played Liz 1, and I had actually found out about it on YouTube or something. Somebody had put a clip. I used to watch like Let's Plays of a lot of games because,
Hey.
well, so here's the thing. I am a Mac user, and so I don't have like a gaming PC or anything. I know, and I don't have an Xbox, and I like didn't have a PlayStation. I was like a Nintendo person. Like I had a GameCube growing up. You know?
Valid.
So yeah, I played a lot of Mario Kart Double Dash
Very
growing
valid.
up, and Super Smash Bros. Mainly.
Yeah.
Kirby, let's go. Like to like swallow people up and then just jump off the side. That's my main strategy. It doesn't work against most people, but I think it's fun. But you know, it's like I grew up on those sort of systems, and so I didn't have access to a lot of games. And there are a lot of games that I'm also just like not going to be good at. Like The Last of Us. Can't play The Last of Us because I'm so chicken. And so I have to watch other people play it. I'm so bad at like anything suspense related. Like I'm trying to play What Remains of Edith Finch right now. And it's so good, but I'm totally freaked out. I was like, this is terrifying, and I have to play it in full daylight.
So Life is Strange is like perfect for you.
Perfect for me.
A little walkthrough.
Yeah. No, as far as games go, like I am a big gamer. I really, really love games. I'm like very into like RPGs. I like really love old school JRPGs. But I also really like some new stuff. I love Hades. I love everything Supergiant does. I'm playing Pyre right now for the first time. It's really great.
What console?
Pyre? I'm playing on PS4. Oh, I have a PS4 and I have a Switch.
You have a PS4 and a Switch?
Yeah.
You're
And I have like old school stuff.
gonna have to fix that.
Listen, I don't have an Xbox. I love one, but I can't afford it. And all their salary is not great.
She works at Xbox. You can get some Xbox.
Yeah, you can hook me up.
I don't have an Xbox either. You want to get an Xbox too?
Let's
Latest
go.
console? Yeah?
But yeah, so I played the first game, and you know, obviously I picked Chloe. But I did sit on that screen for like, I mean, I was sitting there for like an hour, and I was just like pacing, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? But I'd seen clips of Life is Strange True Colors on like YouTube or TikTok or something. I'm not sure.
There's so much TikTok content. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, this is like well before I was like really deep into any of it.
Yeah.
And so like it just showed me like a clip of, I think it was Steph and Alex. And like when you can like choose to kiss her or whatever. And I was just like sat there like dumbfounded, like, oh my God, two girls kissing. What? They're kissing, yeah. And I was like, I have to play this game, I have to play this game. And so I was like waiting for it because I didn't have like I don't think it was out yet, or it was like not out on Switch maybe, I'm not sure. And so I was like waiting for it to come out on a console that I had. And so I was watching Let's Plays. And I came across like all of the like Before the Storm content, and I was like, wow, this is so much bigger than I thought, because I just played the first game and I didn't know there were more. And so it was just like this kind of deep dive into everything, and I like watched a ton of different people play. I think I watched you play it.
Really?
Well, I definitely watched you play it recently, because I did that for my like as I was writing the book.
Research?
Yeah. Well, because I replayed the game.
Cool.
And then I like played all of Wavelengths in one sitting right before my meeting with Square Enix.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to play this game because like, what if they pick the Steph pitch? Like, I have to know what else there is. So I like just like ran through it super fast, and then I wanted to like watch it in more detail because I knew I missed stuff. And I was like, well,
I spent 8 hours on it, so you got all the detail.
I was like, who's not gonna miss anything? And I was like, Katy is not gonna miss anything. I walked around
and like looked at every little thing so I could hear every little like line.
Well, and so then I used your Let's Play as my like reference, because I couldn't just go back into the game if I needed to know what like a line of dialogue was.
Yeah.
But there's moments in the book that happen in flashbacks.
Yes.
So like there's a moment with Steph and Izzy at Pride, and that happens in the book as well. And so I had to go and find out exactly what the audio
was being
were.
said. Yeah.
And then there's like the breakup, and that scene I needed to know exactly what the audio was, and so I had to go back, but I couldn't just like freeze the game and like play through it every time I needed.
It's so interesting that you say that, because when we were recording that, both Benjamin, who was the director, he of the audiobook, we were like, okay, we need to try to mimic as closely as we can, like the way that Izzy said that in the game, because it was already a set dialogue.
Yeah.
So we had to try and make it sound, like the same way she would say it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, they were like really
That's
intense
cool.
with it.
I'm
Like,
so glad.
they did such a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I haven't gotten that far in the audiobook, so I'm like halfway through. So I haven't gotten to like the really big moments, but I'm really excited. Really excited.
There's so many really big ones. I don't know what time we're at right now, but do we want to do questions?
Let me find out. We're at 2:30.
Yeah. Do we want to do questions, or did you have any other?
trying to think like what else we can really talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
We
could literally just
Do
keep
people
talking.
have questions?
Yeah.
Or should we keep going?
Yeah, what do you, we've got some questions.
Yeah, let's get some questions going.
Yeah, we wanna open it
we
up.
have a mic here if you want to come to the front.
I can wait.
Or we can no, we want you to stay on camera.
Okay, yeah, so if you want to come up here and steal the microphone, or you can just like yell, I don't know, whatever you feel comfortable with.
I'm loud. Can you hear me?
Great.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Rosie, I wanted to know what it was like coming up with the character of Izzy, really, because we don't get a lot for her in the game.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I was talking about this
excited that
earlier.
somebody asked. So Izzy is like one of my favorite parts about this book. She's such a central role, and it was so important to me that she become like a fully fledged person in this book, because we really just get like a couple lines of dialogue about her and the regret that Steph feels over that relationship. And I felt like she had so much depth to her, even just in the game. Like we get a couple lines of dialogue and this storied history from Steph, and I was like, there's so much there. And I just kind of decided that she was going to be the central part of the story, that this is the story of Steph and Izzy falling in love and then falling out of love. Like that is their story. And for me, it was really important, like as part of the queer community, as you know, a they, she, that we have this like trans representation that is both positive and also deep. Because I think for so much we see like only the positives, we see only the highlights, and sometimes there are like difficult moments. And so I wanted to give Izzy the same depth and treatment that Steph has gotten. I really wanted Izzy to feel like just like that she is such a central pillar of not only the story, but Steph herself and like who Steph becomes. And I got to do a lot with her because we just don't have a lot. So I got to do things like give her a last name, and I got to give her a family, and I got to give her friends and an ex. I got to decide that Izzy's Jewish, like me, and it was like, that was really, really cool for me because, you know, it's something that's really important to me as a person, but I didn't know if they were gonna let me do that. And I put it in the book and hoped that they would, and they came back and they were like, absolutely, we love this, keep going. So it's been really great, and Square was really supportive of that, so that's awesome. But I know that like Izzy is a really important character to some of the game devs as well. They were really, I think, purposeful with how they dealt with Izzy, and I wanted to make sure that I did the same thing. And so, you know, giving her supportive parents and friends who are also in the trans community. In this book, we have 2 trans boys as well who work with Steph. There's just a very like thriving queer community around them that I wanted to make sure to include. So I really wanted to make sure that Izzy felt like she had a network and a place in Seattle.
And then I have a question actually.
Yeah.
Did you work close with Deandra?
I didn't,
Oh, you
actually.
didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really, really wanted to, but our timelines like never quite matched up.
Dang it.
So we like communicated, but through a third party.
Oh.
But I was really hoping to have like a phone call with Deandra to like really talk through it, but hopefully they're all happy with how it turned out.
For those of you who do not know, Deandra is one of the writers on True Colors and also is the voice of Izzy.
I really wanted to talk to Deandra, but
Yeah.
it sometimes just doesn't pan out. The timeline for the book was so quick. Like I usually get to spend a year or more working on a book and editing it and everything, and the timeline on this was about 5 months, I think.
Your first draft was a month and a half.
Yeah, first draft was a month and a half. I think it should be noted, just for anyone out there, that I wrote it in a month and a half while I was also producing the most amount of fan fiction I've ever produced in my life. Because I was absolutely feral for Our Flag Means Death, and I could not function as a person unless I was listening to The Chain on repeat, for 8 hours a day.
Were you at the panel yesterday?
I was. Of course I was. It's the only thing I had to be at. But yeah.
That means that fan fiction thing happened, I think, right about now.
I know, I sent my partner. Yeah. I told her she had to go. She's been texting me the whole time. I was like, you have to go and represent me.
What's your fanfic handle?
I'll tell you. It's poding with a P. Like loading, but with a P. Yeah, you can find me.
Poding. Okay.
Yeah. I don't write anything super risque. I'm sorry.
You want to go all over there? We all take a field trip.
Right?
Do you want to? You can scream,
Yeah.
or you can come up here. Whatever works.
I'll yell. I just want to know what you guys think Steph's favorite class in D&D is, and then what your guys' favorite class in D&D is.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, for those of you who For those of you who follow me at all on Twitter or watch my Twitch channel or anything, you'll know that I'm not good at D&D. It's like not something that I know. It's really sad when you find that out. You're like, Kate, what you play stuff. She's D&D. Why aren't you? I mean, I tried a lot. I've been in a lot of different D&D campaigns. I'm just not good at it. I think it's because I haven't found the right game. Like, I think tabletop in general,
really matters.
I need to find a different game. I think D&D itself, like the fantastical world, is just, it's hard for me to put my mind into it. So I need to find like something more like Kids on Bicycles vibe, because I like that. I enjoyed that, but
You've got to find out. There's a podcast I used to listen to that has what was it called? Offices and Bosses, I think. It's like Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is a fantastic podcast, very funny. But they do a version. It's like a guy falls into a portal into a magical world, and in that world they play Dungeons and Dragons. But instead of Dungeons and Dragons, it's Offices and Bosses, and they're all like just playing The Office.
Yeah,
they're all just like
that's
corporate people, and it's like I roll to find out if the coffee is burnt, or I roll to annoy Suzanne in the other cubicle. It's just so silly like that. It's very funny.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a rogue. I've been like a rogue halfling before, which was super fun. I enjoyed that. I've played an elf. I can't remember the other half of that. But that was fun too. I think that was my first character. What Steph would be? I have an answer.
They had a good rogue.
And
I was gonna say rogue for sure. Rogue for sure for Steph.
I actually think she's a fighter.
Oh.
I think she's a fighter. I think she's got a little Aries going on in there. And I think she's a fighter.
Huh.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you?
Okay, so here's my deal. I play D&D like 4 times a week, every week. I played a D&D game on Friday night until midnight, which is why I was so tired, which is why I look like I have 2 giant circles under my eyes. So I am good at D&D. I play it a lot. I bought so
Have
many
you ever
dice.
DM'd?
Yeah, I DM. Yeah. So there's a D&D scene in the book. It's chapter 2. And there's a couple cameos in there of my D&D group.
I didn't know that you were the DM of it.
Not that group.
Oh, not that
no,
group.
not that group.
Okay.
That's my Curse of Strahd group.
Yeah.
Which is DM'd by a friend of mine. But she's at the table as well. Her name's Faye, and so she's at the table. And you actually met a couple of the other people who were at that table.
Yeah, I remember that. That's so cool. It's so cool just to
Um,
see like how much you put into how authors put so much of their life into their characters.
But yeah, I just started DMing. I DM 2 groups, and it's really, really fun. I'm having a great time. But I play a lot of different classes, but the important part is that I play them all with the energy of a bard. Yeah, because I can't help it. I am a clown at all times. If there's a pun to be made, I will make it.
Also, you should look into the campaign Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
I love Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I've been dying to play. It's incredible. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, you meet. We'll play. Yeah, okay. Next time I'm up here.
Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Okay, I'm down for that.
For the wedding party.
Sorry, we're in the same wedding party for a friend of ours. We're gonna play Thirsty Sword Lesbians. That'll be really good. Yes, we are.
I want to be invited to this wedding.
It's gonna be a good wedding. I'm officiating.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Is it? Have you officiated before?
I have. I've officiated a couple weddings
Oh
before.
my god! I love that.
Yeah.
Was there any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is for both of you. Do you play any instruments in real life, or would you like to play drums?
So I actually can play the drums too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both play the drums.
Ugh.
I actually grew up in a very musical family.
Same.
Weird, very weird. My dad is like the foremost artisanal harp maker in the United States.
Whoa.
Yeah. His harp was on the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack.
His
It's really
harp?
cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up in a really musical family, and I can play like 7 instruments.
Wow.
None of them well.
Yeah.
My parents were like really desperate for me to be a musician, and I was like, I just want to dance and write books, and they were like, play music. And I said, no.
Yeah, that was
I was a drummer for a while.
Yeah.
I was in a band. It
Oh.
was really bad. We were not good. We played some anime cover songs. Like we played the opening theme for Fullmetal Alchemist, which I don't remember any of the lyrics for. But yeah, we were really into it.
Yeah, my dad is a drummer actually, and he's in a band, a classic cover rock band. They've been in a band for like 25 years, or how old am I? 22, 27 years, something like that, long time. And he tried to just teach all of his kids to play the drums because he wanted somebody to play the drums. And I attached to it the most, I think, but I fell off of it very quickly. Now it's just a party trick. So yeah, like I can just like, if there's a random drum set, I can hop on it and play a little bit. Yeah, but I can't play, yeah, and I can play guitar, like just a couple chords.
I feel like I'm like, you put me in front of an instrument and I will look with fear,
Mhm.
and give me like 20 minutes and I'll figure it out again.
You figure
Like,
it
I
out?
don't remember how to play things.
You play the violin?
I cannot play the violin, but I can play the harp, I can play piano, I can play guitar, bass, drums.
You can play the whole band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
Got a lot of instruments.
I love
Yeah.
that. Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Follow-up question. So if for whatever reason this got picked up as a movie
Mhm.
or something along those lines, who would you designate to create the soundtrack for this? As far as like
Ooh.
for all the songs that Drugstore Makeup,
Ooh.
That's a really good question.
like who would be Drugstore Makeup?
No.
You would know more than I.
I don't know. What now?
What's theater kid music?
I don't know. Here's the thing. So as far as music goes, I'm like, I listen to everything, but I don't know who anyone is.
That's me too.
So I actually have a playlist.
I've
for-
seen it. It looks really good.
It is really good. So I have a playlist for Steph Story that follows like the whole arc. So I mean, obviously, like Life is Strange, the music is so integral to the games, right? Like the soundtrack itself is a story, and I listened to the Life is Strange soundtrack while I wrote the book. But then I turned in the book, which I turned in early. Which has never happened before. And my editor was like, okay, your homework is go make a playlist for this book. And I was like, wow, what a great way to spend my day. What a great way to, be employed.
It's so funny, yeah.
So I went and I did that. I like just went onto playlists on Spotify. I like found every like queer punk band I could. I found like any sort of like indie rock that I felt like was like the energy. But it was all like definitely all queer. And so I do have a playlist.
Oh, it's so good.
And I will be sharing it. Yeah.
And I'll be retweeting it. And,
Yeah, I will be sharing it. I think I might like write up a thing about it before I do.
Yes.
Like with like some
Make it-
just, like,
yeah,
explanations
makes sense.
about it. I don't know.
We'll have to get back to you on that one.
I mean I know that like the movie or the game version would have a soundtrack of I think all queer artists. I think would be good. I think I'd love to have like a Haley Kiyoko song on there. It'd be
Yeah,
really good.
of course.
I think I'd love to have like King Princess. That'd be great. You know, just a little bit of Betty Who would be good. You know, just like a little bit of everything with some Tegan and Sarah.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know who would actually like play them in the band. Like who would be their music.
Mhm.
There are a couple of songs in the book. I wrote like a couple of stanzas of like
Those are
music.
so interesting. I was like, do I need to sing these? And he's like, no. And I was like, cool.
But
just, like,
if anyone out there wants to sing them and like make the song,
Do it.
Do
Yes.
it.
And
I don't
put it
give
on
you,
socials.
yeah, I don't give you the whole thing. So like, feel free to come up with your own. But if anyone out there is a musician who wants to like play it,
Or a lyricist
Do
that
it.
wants to write more stuff, Ray,
Yeah.
you should definitely
Yeah,
write more of these songs.
I'm not a lyricist. I'm just like I'm barely a poet. Like
They sound really, they're really good. They're good. They're great. I basically read them as if they were just poetry. But yeah, they're so sweet. Yeah, it
You
was
went
good.
into it with the energy of a bar.
yeah, I did. I went into it with the energy of love. That's correct. Yeah, that's how I approach life.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
If Steph had a superpower, what do you think it would be?
Somebody asked me this like years ago, and it was like to make everyone gay. That was what I went with.
But I think it would be an energy power.
Yeah.
I think like a hyper energy, like a caffeine vibe.
I think I feel like it would be something relating to empathy. I know that we just explored that with Alex, but I feel like that's very much Steph as well, of just being able to read people.
Mm-hmm.
She reads people really well. Yeah, she thinks a lot.
She's a thinky girl.
Yeah.
I'm thinky.
Yeah, that was a good question. I think I saw one back there. I don't know if somebody had a question back there or not. No? Any other questions? Yeah.
Throughout the journey of voice acting it, as well as writing the end part of the story that hasn't been explored yet, what do you like take away from this? At the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
do you see moving forward?
I think that the thing that I take away the most from this is you guys. Honestly, the fans of the game, the people in my Twitch community, the people who follow me on Instagram. It's just, I've learned so much. Like, again, I've learned so much from you all. And yeah, I don't know, it's so cool to be able to hear your stories and to read letters that you all have sent me, or just messages on social media, and like how much this character means to you, and how my performance as this character has helped you, come out or get out of that dark place or move forward or, face your fears. Like, it's just so rad. And yeah, every day I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm doing this for this fandom, this community, these people, who need representation. They want to feel part of something. And that's what's most important to me, and that's what I take away from it, 100%. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I have not been a part of like the Life is Strange fandom long enough to have experienced that. Like, obviously the book's not out yet, so I feel like people don't know.
We're in for something
I
extraordinary.
really hope so. I think it'll be really cool. I write other books and I do connect with readers, but they're nowhere near the like scope of this. Like, this is going to reach a lot more people. And so, yeah, I'm hopeful that it reaches the people who need it, and that it like really creates
it's going to. Like, I'm telling you all, like, it just clicks right into your heart. There's just so much going on. I challenge you to read this book or listen to the audiobook and then go back and play True Colors again, and then just go stare at Steph and be like, are you okay?
Yeah, the answer is like, no.
No. Like, you read this, you listen to it, and then like all the things that she has going on in her head and her mind, and you're just like, yeah, I think when I was doing the audiobook, I thought back to True Colors. I was like, damn, like what she thought about Izzy is a lot of how she felt about Alex.
Yeah.
And we just don't get to hear that or see that because she's not the main character there. You don't get to listen to her mind. It's wild. Yeah.
I will say, just to answer your question, the one thing that I've really, so far at least, taken from this, and this is just kind of like a weird, like personal as an author thing, this book stretched my capabilities in so many ways, because I mostly write science fiction and fantasy, and this was more of a contemporary story. This was more like grounded in the real world. And, I identify as aromantic asexual, and for me, writing romance is really scary. And I just like dove headfirst into this and found out that I could do it. And that writing that was something that like I not only could do, but really enjoyed doing. And that was a surprise for me. And I'm really grateful to this book and the process for allowing me to kind of flex those muscles and figure out that was something that like I could actually do. And now I'm really excited to take that energy forward into my future books and like really do that more. And explore like different types of relationships within those books, because that was something that was really scary for me. And I think I just like kind of proved to myself that I could do it, and that was really neat. So
going off of that, me doing the audiobook, I had no idea. I was like, how racy is this gonna get? What are we gonna get into? What am I gonna have to say? But it's so well done, and it's cute. It's just really cute, like the detail in just their closeness and like their kisses and the things, and like it's just really sweet and cute, and it just makes you long for more of just that, and it was really well done. Like, that was probably honestly my favorite part of it, was just all of the little cute like romantic things and being able to read that. Like, I felt it flowed so nice.
It felt so important to me to give Steph and Izzy like a really romantic, like happy time, because I know that we all know where it ends, and we know that it does end, and that's really sad, and it's hard, especially like for queer people who are, we're dealing with a lot in the world, and breakups are hard, but they do happen to us, and they're not always like, our fault. They're not always, one person or the other. It's really, a group effort. A relationship is a group effort. And so is a breakup. And so it's like, it felt really important to me to give them a period of time where they were, just able to breathe and like kind of just have that fresh air of like, this is happening, this is real, this is happy, and that they can like find that in each other and just, let them exist a little bit before it gets rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you, let's say Square Enix came back and said they wanted to do a remastered version of True Colors like tomorrow or whatnot, would you change any aspect of your voice acting now that you've read this?
No, I think like again,
I don't think you'd have to.
No.
I hope that I did the character
No,
justice.
Rosie did. Like reading this, again, like it was different. Like reading voiceover and like lines for a video game versus reading a novel and doing the audiobook as like the character was different because it's a novel. It's written differently. You know, it's long form, not short form. Like everything, like all the thoughts in a novel are longer form. You know, with video game, it's like things are quicker. Like the dialogue is quicker. So yeah, but again, you got the character's vibe down just perfect. Like it was set. It's set.
I will say that I attribute a huge amount of that to your performance because like there's a depth to Steph there.
Mhm.
Like when we experience her in the game, like even in Before the Storm, like we only have really like what 2 scenes with her.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
like there's like the D&D one and like
And like a little hospital scene
yeah,
too.
little
at the
hospital
end-
scene.
at
That's
the
right.
end.
That's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's 3.
There's 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
3 little
So,
scenes.
like 3 little scenes, and
Yeah.
it's like there's so much depth to this character, and like knowing, you know, where she comes from, and kind of like having that grounding is like so cool. I have to say one more thing that I totally forgot. This is really cool. So Arcadia Bay obviously is a fictional town, but it is based on a very small town on the coast of Oregon, which is where my partner's family lives. And
Oh,
so
wait, I didn't
yeah,
know
it's
that.
really
That's
cool.
cool.
And so when I was like being pitched for this, I like put that in my little pitch. I was like, also I have family exactly where they are. Like I know all of these landmarks. Like give me the book.
Yeah, speaking of landmarks, it's really cool because Rosie was able, if you live in the Seattle area, if you live just kind of in the Pacific Northwest, Rosie has put in a lot of like kind of like odes to like these different locations.
Yeah.
And so
How many people here have been to Pride in Seattle? Okay, yeah. So there's like a Pride scene at Volunteer Park. And like, you know, trying to like put in little things that I've seen and all that kind of stuff. It's
yeah,
really
even
fun.
me reading it, like she mentioned Bellingham, which is where I went to school, and she
Yeah.
mentioned Ashland, which is where I did an internship at the Shakespeare Festival. So I was like reading it and I was connecting to it and I was like, this is so cool, I love this. So it's gonna be really cool for those folks too who are in this area. But yeah. Were there
Yeah.
any other ones? Any other questions? I don't know what
I
time
don't
we're
know what
at.
time it is. Hang on.
We could just keep
We've got
talking.
like
Oh, we've got like
10
2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't
10
know.
This is the song and dance section.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song and dance
Get up
section. This is incredible though. There's like 60 people here. I
Yeah,
never
this is so
expected
cool.
this. This is amazing. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like karaoke.
I'm curious. This is just my curiosity. How many of you all follow like the Life is Strange? I guess, or me on Twitter. I'm just curious. On like, where did you find out about like if you're here for me? Where did you find out about me? Twitter, Instagram, Twitch.
My job.
Hey, your job, cool, awesome. It's just cool to see like where people came
Cool.
from.
It seems like a lot of people found us just like from
the con.
From the con.
Yeah,
Is
so
that right?
you guys
Yeah.
just like found the con and you were like, oh cool, Life is Strange, I love that. Okay, cool, awesome.
That's so cool.
That was-
Yeah.
I know.
cool. Yeah, that's so
Oh, that's so
rad.
cool.
There's just so
Love
many people
it.
walking around and I'm like, I wonder like, yeah, how many of these people are into Life is Strange? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super rad. Cool. Well, I wanted to get like a picture with everybody.
Yeah.
Because like, you know how they do it at the concerts, you know, where there's like, yeah, so
we're basically rock stars. is
Right,
what
we're
we're saying.
right. So I'm gonna grab my phone and then we're gonna stand up here and we're gonna take a picture. Is that cool? You guys wanna be in the picture? Okay.
I'd also love to get anyone who's in cosplay, if you don't mind sticking around and take a group photo of everybody in cosplay. Because I see a lot of plaid shirts in the audience and I just think that probably that counts.